Hello guys, India has several B schools and most of the B schools have their own flavor. Today we are going to discuss or rather know the interview experience of one of the B schools, one of the top-notch B schools, that is SPJIMR. And SPJIMR is basically famous for team learning. They encourage group thinking, group working and all. So here we have Ms. Chitranshi Gupta. She has got selected in SPJIMR, although she would be joining FMS. But yes, she cracked the interview of SPJIMR and she is going to share the whole interview experience with us. So let's begin. Let's start. Yes, welcome, Chitranshi.
Thank you, sir.
So you, while discussing just before this interaction, you were sharing many things about SPJIMR.
Yes, sir.
And you said that you had a wonderful interview experience there.
Yes, sir. I did.
So what were your feeling after getting into the institute, getting into SPJIMR? You went to their campus only?
Yes. I had a walk-in interview. So basically, SPJIMR is such a dream college. It's really good. You meet the people over there, you meet faculties over there, and they're all so polished. You just want to learn from them. You want to interact with them. And this happened with me. While I was going for the SPJIMR interview, I was a bit early. So I had about 1 to 1.5 hours to interact with the AdCom people and the other students over there. And I was a bit nervous. I shared my feelings with them and they said, they calmed my nerves. I mean, they were so helpful that right with those interactions, I felt that this is one home. So yes, SPJIMR is
the seniors out there were very helping.
Yes, it's a very positive environment, I must say. Yes.
Okay. So how did it start? So like when you reached there, what was the first thing that happened over there? So
basically we have to report to the auditorium, at the arrival. So basically when your time comes,
they must have given a run through what's going to happen today.
Yes, when all of your slot mates come, so they run you through all of the procedures, what's going to happen next. So the VAT happens first, then the GI1, then the GI2.
So it started with VAT. So what was your topic?
So my topic was quite interesting, very particular of SP. My topic was if you were to explain the concept of telephone to a person born in 2005. So it was a unique topic. Yes, a fun experience to write to. I mean, they gave 20 minutes, if I'm not wrong.
And probably 1.5 pages.
Yes, 2 pages.
So one was almost half filled. So
yes.
So 1.5 pages.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So then you went for your first group interview.
Yes.
So
J1.
How many people were there with you?
5 people.
5 people.
So they divide you into groups of 5. Yes, and not necessarily of the same domain. So like I went in for the interview for marketing, PGDM marketing, but there were people with me for opting for PGDM operations. Yes, finance. So
everyone
can be with
everyone was together.
Yes.
Okay. And how many panel members?
The GI1 had 3 panel members. The second
and probably all of them were faculty members, or
sir, it's hard to say. Yes, I'm not sure. But yes, they looked faculty to me. To an untrained, I cannot say.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So what was their first question to all of you?
Okay, so when we walked in,
so you all sat in a line, or it was
in a
semicircular
line. So like it was not a table, not one table, but we were interviewed in a classroom setting. So the panel members were sitting on the student benches, and we were given 5 seats, and we were allotted the seats. I mean, we were assigned seats. So you will have to sit here, Chitranshi will sit here.
So you were first, or
I was the last.
You were the last.
Yes.
So what was the first question?
First question was introduction. They asked us, they mentioned that we do not want your qualifications as such that you have already mentioned in the form. You simply introduce yourself briefly. You have 1 minute to introduce yourself.
And form carries a lot of weightage in
yes,
SPJIMR.
SPJIMR has a wonderful form. I mean, quite a bit lengthy. In fact, it has lots of questions. Many of them are creative. You can use your creative thinking, creative writing.
So how did you fill your form? Does someone help you?
Yes, sir. I got guidance from CH EdgeMakers, and I remember there was one question, 10 random things about you. So, like, those questions are meant to, make you stand apart from the crowd. I remember one thing I wrote, if I wish we could fly as birds. Something like that, very breezy, very chill. I wrote.
Probably you were able to explore a lot about yourself through that form.
Yes, sir. You can even mention funny things in that form. Like, I wrote one line, I wishlist clothing items at the speed of light. So it's like, if they get to read it and they do read it, you can impress them with your form. It's an opportunity.
Yes, you can impress them with your wit.
Yes.
Great. So after that question, where they were asking, probably they were asking that mention those things which are not explicitly or very, what you can say, factual about you.
Yes.
So what did you say there?
Sir, I do not remember the exact introduction I gave, but I do remember that I mentioned an Instagram page that I have recently opened. It was an art page. So I mentioned that, to which the questions were also followed in the interview. So like things that, make you stand apart, not the regular thing that you have done BCom or BTech, not the regular things, because those are the things that are already with them. The details are with them.
And what was the second question to everyone?
The second question was not common. So basically, everyone just gave a brief of their profile, and they had the profiles at hand as well. So they were directing questions to students. I think I was the third or fourth student they had to ask the question. So the very first interview question that I was asked was, Chitranshi, you mentioned stage fright, that you overcame it. So what do you think? Why do you think people have stage fright in the first place? To which I replied that I think we are all made to believe that we are watched all the time, that our words are of so much concern that we have to speak what other people like. And this is where, a layer of fear is set. If you do not speak it rightly, or
well said.
Yes. So I think this is where you get conscious. Oh my God, there are hundreds of people listening to me. Probably I cannot perform well or something like that. So that lays the foundation of stage fright. To my reply, the interviewer seemed quite satisfied. I was happy with that.
Were they asking technical questions?
Yes, they were asking. So basically, it's a mix of all types of questions. This is a technical round per se. So they are going to ask you technical questions, but they'll see your form. If they find something interesting, they will surely mention it and ask you about it, so that they get to know you better.
How important is it to listen to other person's responses?
So very crucial. In SPJIMR, the purpose of group interview is to check your attentiveness, whether you're listening to all of the other 4 candidates, their answers, or you're just focusing on yourself, or are you hesitating for your own answers. So like, if you are attentive over there has to be one question that is directed to you based on the other person's reply. So someone said this thing, you have to add something to that question.
So what were those questions asked to you from other person's responses? Do you remember any?
Yes, sir, I remember there was one person who had worked with Reliance. So there was one technical question, how do things work in a process? Something that if I know, I can add value to the group discussion. Something like that. Yes.
Any other question that they asked in this particular G1?
I think there was a question directed to me by the interviewer, that what would you do to increase, to increase views on your platform, on your
reach of your platform,
reach of your channel. So I gave a few points, and then the same question was asked to a person sitting next to me, to the person, and they were asked, what would you suggest Chitranshi should do? So yes, I think questions are very, they are all directed towards.
So one should keep in mind first the form that one has filled. There can be questions based on those forms. Number 1. Number 2, one should keep in mind that this is a technical round. So there can be questions based on your profile. It can be questions based on your work ex. It can be questions based on whatever you have studied in life.
Yes.
Fine?
Yes.
Okay. And then there can be some random questions as well.
Random questions as well. Yes.
Okay. Anything other that you remember about this particular round?
Not so, because everything was quite natural in the process. Yes.
Okay. And the interview lasted for how many minutes?
So must be like 50 to 60 minutes, because it's a group interview. It makes sense.
It takes time because they are asking everyone. So
everyone. And
so on an average 10 to 15 minutes per person.
Yes. And one thing I would like to mention, SP Jain gives every candidate the equal chance to speak. Like if someone is very adept at speaking, they can't be the person going on for 25 minutes. They'll ask the other person, give them the chance that okay, even if you're not able to speak till now, you are given the stand, you shall speak now. Yes.
Great.
And they are very helpful in a way. I mean, if they like your answer, they would smile. So they're not those people who would always maintain poker faces and try to intimidate students. I think the whole process was very genuine and it felt encouraging.
True.
Yes.
So after this Jeevan, they made you wait for some time?
Yes, sir.
There was a gap of?
Yes, there was a gap of about 2 to 3 hours.
2 to 3 hours.
Yes,
okay,
in which we were asked to have lunch in the canteen, interact with fellow students, fellow interviewees.
Long time.
Yes, and a long time to wait for the results if we are going home or staying back at the place. Yes.
So, how many people from your panel were selected for second?
So every panel has 5 members, as I mentioned. In our panel, only 1 got rejected.
Okay.
4 were selected. But a thing to note over here is, it doesn't matter. There's no one selected ratio that they select. Either or 5 of them can be selected.
So there were panels where all of them were selected. There were panels.
Yes.
Was there any panel with all rejected?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. So I mean, I saw all of the permutations and combinations. 2 getting selected, 3 getting selected.
So this is one thing that person who wishes to take SPJIMR interview, you feel like they are going to select, let's say, 2 or 3 out of 5, but it is not the case. If you have performed well, you will be selected. That's it.
They give different scores to people.
Yeah.
And try not to be very competitive because it sets a negative tone.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be competitive.
So if you will compete with other members, probably whole group might get rejected.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Anything can happen in SP interview. I mean, I've seen people with great quality work ex getting rejected. So I think it's the quality that matters of the individual.
True.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So then the G2 started.
Yes, so
which is basically based on ethics.
Yes, that was one interview which I think is personally made for me, because that was where I thought that this is a time, the opportunity to shine. I mean, their questions were so brilliant and were open to many different perspectives and interpretations.
Here also there were 5 members?
Yes.
Okay, so they regrouped. So
yes,
were
they regrouped.
There were none from the previous group, or there was?
Can be, cannot be.
Okay. Again, anything can happen.
Yes.
Anything can happen.
Anything can happen.
Okay. So what was the first question?
So the first question was very, I mean, again, they said you have 1 minute. Try to speak anything, unique about yourself.
Okay.
Please do not mention any accomplishments. Please do not mention your profile. They straight away said anything that you find yourself, associated with you.
So what did you say?
So I said that I was very close to my grandmother and I got a great knowledge of, a great bunch of wisdom from my father. So they expect such things because, you would notice in GI2, there are always professors with grey hairs, like very experienced.
So how many professors were there?
2 professors, yes.
Both male?
Both male.
Okay. And what was the second question?
So the interview after the introduction, the question was, which is one memory that when you felt extremely happy? Yes. When you
what
felt.
Was your memory?
So it was with my family when all of us are sitting in a room talking, chatting. That is one thing that I would always want to keep it with myself. So very genuine stuff.
Okay.
They are not judging you on
So
your
it was
vocabulary.
again a common question to everyone.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Everyone is given a chance to speak. Even if someone is getting left behind, they would give them
Ask him to.
Yes.
Okay. So nothing like one by one, or anyone can
No.
start?
If you want to volunteer to be the first,
Okay, you can.
you go. I mean, you can raise your hand and they would give you. So like nothing, you would not have to think in it, ki, shall I do it or not?
So
It's
if you feel
natural.
like you are ready, you just
Yes.
jump in. Okay.
Yes.
And then the next question?
The next question was the opposite.
Okay.
It was one memory that you feel infuriated you. So like
You're very angry.
filled you with anger or something like that.
Again, a common question to everyone?
Yes.
Okay.
A common question to anyone. So it is open
do you
to
wish to share it?
different. Sir, yes, I spoke a bit on how marriages are, how arranged marriages, not all, but how the families react to when a person is, not fit for their son, fit for their daughter. So like I hated that stuff when it happened with my extended family. So like I mentioned that I did not like that particular aspect of my uncle. He was quite,
Disturbed.
yes, he was not.
So the way the negotiation go on.
Yes.
Okay.
The transactional value of
Yes.
arranged marriage, like she doesn't have a height or she doesn't fit on the scale of weight. So like that was something that I shared, which infuriated me.
Okay. What was the next question?
So then they told us that this was a warm-up exercise.
Okay. So till now it was warm up,
Yes.
and now the interview starts.
Yes, now the interview starts because now they were giving us, they were about to give us scenarios in which we were to take a stance.
Okay.
Yes. So, and one more thing that we were alerted by our seniors, there is nothing right or wrong. You can take a stand as yes, you can take a stand as no.
No.
They won't judge you for what you say, but why are you saying that?
The logic behind.
The logic behind it.
reasoning
They're there for that.
Okay. So share some scenarios.
Yes, sir. So one was in which they said, if in a school, if I'm a principal of a school and the teacher, the professor, he said that if I'm the principal of a school in which students are not concerned with studies, they're not willing to study, and the school has recently got funding. So if I propose a policy in which a student, if he reads one book, he get 50 rupees. If he reads 2 books, he get 120 rupees. 3 books, 200 rupees, and proportionately increasing money with the number of books. So shall this policy be ethical? Should it be implemented?
Very good question.
Yes. To which my answer was that it should not be.
Yes.
Because in terms, knowledge should not be measured in terms of monetary value. If you sell an idea to a young kid at the age of 5 or 10, if you read this particular chapter, you'll get this much money. Probably his mindset would be set in a way.
It's basically in a psychology also they said that then when you do such things, next time the person will not do it because he will look for that monetary benefit.
Yes, sir. This was my point.
He is going to judge everything by money.
By that, yes. And he would want something in return.
Yes.
And the very fact that you are selling knowledge, this cannot be sold. It cannot be priced.
Great.
Yes.
Great.
So, yes.
And what about the next question? Next scenario?
So, the next question was a slightly bit difficult, more difficult. It was if we were to introduce blood donations to be priced at a particular value.
Okay.
Like, suppose if the hospital is calling for blood donors, if the policy says
money to a donor.
Yes, money to a donor, like 1,000 rupees, giving 1,000 rupees away to a donor. Shall this be done in a hospital type setup? To which my answer was very subjective. It depends on the situation.
Okay.
Honestly, I do not feel it is ethical to price price blood at any value.
Okay.
Blood is something that we have not yet been able to create artificially. So it cannot be set a price. We cannot set a price. So this was my stand that we cannot give away money to each and every donor, because it would form a habit, it would form a wrong set of value to that donor, that he's doing for the price and not for the purpose. However, in emergency situations where you need fresh blood to create platelets for dengue patients or something, which I gave from my family's experience. So I think putting a monetary value can be beneficial both for the patient and for the donor. So like, it is very subjective. If you need it in an emergency setup, probably this can be implemented.
Okay, this was the second scenario.
Yes.
Okay, any other scenarios?
Yes, sir. The third scenario was a bit more difficult, according to the professors only. So they said India has a vast population, and this population is often seen as a cheap labor, because we are a country with the largest population in the world. So many American companies or European companies doing their drug trials, after doing the animal tests, going forward with the human tests, they come to India so that they are able to spend a lesser amount of money for a greater proportion of pupils, and they are able to test their drugs. Now anything can happen. The results can be anything, disturbing and glorious, anything. So should India be open for that?
Okay.
Should we close this for the American companies? So it was very subjective. The answer can be yes.
Yes, it can
we
be
should.
both.
Or no, that we have a potential with us, we have an advantage with our population, so we can. So it's basically how much.
Again, they were testing your rationale, the reasoning that you will give.
Yes.
Any other scenario?
Sir, I remember these three. Apart from that,
were there any cross questions also? Let's say the person has responded this. What do you think about his response, her response?
Yes. There were, because I remember someone with a biology profile was sitting just next to me, and when he said something like, the world needs more managers than doctors. So like, if you are giving a reaction over there, they might ask you to explain why did you do that. And there's nothing wrong in, I was being genuine, even the other people were being very natural. So they would simply want to ask, what were you thinking? Would you want to explain what do you think on this topic? So like, again, listening is very important.
Yes.
Active listening is very crucial. They can ask, what are your views on what he said, or what do you want to add if you have the same stand?
Because communication is all about two things. One is speaking, second is listening. If one will speak, the other person will not listen. Communication can never be complete.
Yes, sir.
Great.
Yes, sir. Sure.
Chalo. Any other question?
So there was one C-off question.
Okay.
What are the C-off question? I mean, they said that this is going to be our last question.
Okay.
So you can relax. They said something like this. So the last question was, what are the three things that you hate in our country? Now this is something that sets a negative tone. If you do not handle this well, you might get rejected on those grounds. So I think that I handled it fairly well. I said corruption, and I said the political power that a few people enjoy, and I gave a few real life examples to it based on my own experience and my family's experience. So like, I was not able to think of a third one. So I said, sir, currently I'm able to tell these two things only, and they said fair point. End of discussion. So like, they waved us a goodbye. They said wonderful.
They must have handed you the cup also.
So not the professors, the seniors did.
Okay.
Yes.
Before or after?
After GI2.
Once you
once you complete with it.
So did you show your cup to your family members at that time?
I was very.
Kept it like a surprise.
Yes, I wanted to keep it like a surprise, that if I convert, and I had a sense that I would be able to convert, because
you were pretty confident, especially after G2.
Yes, GI2, I was like, this was a opportunity for me, tailor-made for me. So I kept the cup with me, and when I converted
So
I showed
was
them.
it ethical to keep the cup with you and not showing to your family members?
Sir, it's open to interpretations again.
Chali, great,
But yes.
great. So again, wonderful interaction, and
Thank you, sir.
really liked talking to you. And I think this would be very, very informative for people who wish to take or get into SPJIMR and who is currently preparing for it. These are some points that you should keep in mind. Well, with this, we end the video here only. We certainly bring you more such videos in future. Thank you so much.
Thank you.